Previously, the fires of Ekumeku rose across Western Igboland, but the British believed those flames had died. They believed the people were broken, scattered, silent. But silence in Ani Igbo has never meant surrender. It has always meant preparation. Tonight we return to the story. To a land caught between faith and fury, empire and survival. To the moment the League of the Silent Ones, Otu Ekwunokwu, emerged from the shadows. This is Ekumeku 2, 1902 to 1903. After the first battle between the Otu Achichi and the Royal Niger Company, Ralph Moore, High Commissioner in the service of the Southern Nigeria government, sent a warning across the sea, straight to the Colonial Office in London. He wrote of instability, of a region between Benin and the Niger slipping further from British hands. And he argued that only a demonstration of an established government, backed by force, could secure full control. London listened. After long consideration, the British imperial government created the West African Frontier Force, the WAFF. A military machine better paid, better trained, and better equipped than the soldiers of the Royal Niger Company. And they sent Frederick Lugard to finish what George Goldie could not. The WFF carried modern rifles, but also war-hardened African soldiers from neighboring tribes, men shaped by tropical warfare, familiar with the land and ready to enforce the empire's will. A new storm was coming. After their victory over the RNC, the Otu Achichi fell silent. Many of their patrons were dead, imprisoned or converted. And into that silence, another force grew bold, the Missionaries. Their confidence rose. They destroyed relics. They burned shrines belonging to converts, declaring the powerlessness of the gods the people believed in. This violence against tradition ruptured the fragile order of the land. Chiefs converted. And some, seeking to follow Christian teachings, released their slaves. The result was chaos, slave rebellions erupting against former masters. Freeborns grew furious, refusing to accept a foreign god. They sought to drive out the missionaries from their midst. They ousted chiefs who abandoned the old ways. And in their anger, they chose silence. Silence as preparation. Silence as a weapon. From this silence came a new force, Otu Ekwunokwu, League of the Silent Ones. British tongues mispronounced it as Ekumeku. The Otu Ekwunokwu were shadows within shadows. They met only at night, acted only in secret places, their methods known only to their sworn members. By 1902, missionary settlements had grown larger, and so had the numbers within this secret war cult. Then, news of the rising reached Ralph Moore. He requested 200 men under Captain Morehouse to crush the Ekumeku uprising, and then deal with the IKA people. But before his request was granted, the Ekumeku struck first. December 1902. Onicha-Olona, Ezi, Ogwashi-Ukwu. 3 towns erupted as Ekumeku warriors attacked. Panic rippled through colonial and missionary circles. Troops were mobilized in Asaba. Columns marched out to confront this new wave of resistance. But when the colonial forces arrived, they met no resistance. They pressed deeper, destroying, looting, burning town after town. Until they reached Onicha-Olona, silent, empty, deserted. They set up camp in a large space called Agbenu. They believed silence meant victory. But the Ekumeku were already in their bush war camps, preparing for the confrontation to come. Major Morehouse marched a column into the Ogbiabi quarter of Onicha-Olona. Gunfire cracked through the air as Ekumeku warriors opened fire. The British dislodged the resistance and burned Ogbiabi. They moved into the Umulu quarter. Another gun battle. Another forced retreat. And Umulu too was set ablaze. That evening, as night covered the land, Ekumeku warriors launched a surprise attack on the British camp, but were driven back. The next day, Commander Forsberry led a march toward Ezi. There the resistance was fierce, violent, unyielding. But the result mirrored previous battles. The warriors were pushed back into the bush and Ezi was set ablaze. On the return to Onicha-Olona, the colonial troops were suddenly chased by Ekumeku fighters led by Dunkwu. Several soldiers were injured before the pursuit ended near the British camp. The land was burning. Villages in ruins. Farms destroyed. People terrified. Some chiefs, exhausted by the destruction of their homes, approached the British seeking peace. They were allowed back in, but this act would become the undoing of the Ekumeku in this phase. Seeing slow progress, the British turned their wrath on the chiefs who pledged alliance with them. They threatened to burn every home and farm unless the leaders of the Ekumeku, Dunkwu, Elumelu and Ebora, were surrendered. The chiefs, fearing destruction, delivered the message to the bush war camps. Dunkwu refused. Ebora and Elumelu, weary from years of struggle, agreed to present themselves only if their safety was guaranteed. But when the chiefs relayed this, Commander Forsberry rejected the condition. He issued an ultimatum. Appear before him, or the burning would continue. Eventually, Dunkwu, Ebora, and Elumelu appeared before Forsberry. A court was convened. The three were tried, found guilty, exiled. But Dunkwu refused to bow. In a sudden burst of defiance, he escaped back into the bush and macheted Owudu Doki, a lance corporal of C Company who tried to stop him. The escape enraged Forsberry. He immediately secured Ebora and Elumelu, overturning the earlier court ruling. They were sentenced to serve prison terms in Asaba prison. Their capture broke the resistance, but only temporarily. Ekumeku warriors across other villages, seeing their leaders taken, accepted defeat. The British declared, "The Ekumeku has been defeated, and we have control over Western Igboland." But the truth was different. The Ekumeku were not truly defeated. They had only withdrawn, only fallen silent again. And silence in this land is always a sign of what is coming. This encounter left a deep scar. It made the natives grow even more hatred toward the missionaries. And it set the stage for what would come next. Ekumeku 3. Empires rise through force. But resistance is born in the heart. The Otu Ekwunokwu disappeared into the shadows, but the shadows did not disappear. Not from the land. Not from the memory of the people. Not from history. Their silence would not last. Because history was about to enter the next chapter. And the British would soon learn that the Ekumeku could never truly be extinguished.
Thank you for joining me on this journey of African history, philosophy, and mythology. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more videos on African history, philosophy, and mythology.